Hello YouTube, my name is Isabella and welcome back to my channel, Stubbornly Bookish. Today I'm going to be doing a slightly different video and discussing a few books I would like to reread. I actually really like rereading books. I love revisiting old favorites and re-immersing myself into worlds that I haven't been in a while. I clearly don't do as many rereads as I used to do because of BookTube and constantly having new books and new things that I want to read. I just don't reread as much, but I still tend to do at least maybe 5 rereads per year. I have a small stack of five or six books that I would like to reread in the near future, but I have a specific reason for each of them. Basically, I want to give all of these books a second chance. Either I didn't like them or I don't remember much about what happened in them. If this was a list of all the books I wanted to reread, we would be here for a long time. And so let's just jump into the 5 books I'd like to revisit. The first book is actually the book that inspired this video, and it's The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman. This is a popular middle grade series that was essentially written in response to C.S. Lewis's The Chronicles of Narnia. The Chronicles of Narnia is very religious, very Christian, and this series is basically, I think takes on some of the negative aspects of religion and Christianity. I read this book when I was so young. I remember vague parts from the book, but I also have vague memories of the really shitty movie. And I remember thinking it was really weird, so I never continued on with the series, and now I really want to. There's also the new HBO adaptation that's coming up in the next few weeks, so I definitely plan to have reread this book before then. I'm just so excited to dive into this world that takes on religion in a middle grade series. I think this book honestly has the potential to be a favorite now, and I can't wait to dive into this and the rest of the series. The next book I would like to reread is the only classic on this list. I don't tend to read a lot of classics. I don't tend to enjoy them too much, and this one I hated. It's Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. This is a classic that focuses on these two really toxic characters, Catherine and Heathcliff, and their tumultuous relationship. I can't really tell you too much about it except for when I read this, and I think I was in the 9th grade at the time. I was super confused. I did not understand how there were 3 Catherines. I have obviously grown since then, and I'd like to think my reading comprehension has grown as well, so I'd like to give this another shot, knowing that these characters are unlikable and meant to be unlikable, because I now love an unlikable character. Yeah, so interested to see my thoughts on this one, although I don't think I'm going to be rereading it anytime super soon. The next book I really want to give another shot is American Gods by Neil Gaiman. I recently read a couple more Neil Gaiman works and actually really enjoyed them. I don't always love his plots, but his writing I think is really great. I didn't like American Gods, and this was my first Neil Gaiman. I thought the story was so meandering, and I thought this was supposed to be a little bit more of an epic story, and I didn't quite get it. I read it to prepare for the TV show, which I've never watched. Now, knowing that it is a slower paced book, I would like to go into it and actually take my time with it. It has been a few years since I've read it, but a decent amount is still left in my head, and I would just like to try giving it a chance where I'm not rushing to get it finished, but to actually see if I enjoy it. A lot of people whose reviews and stuff I really trust have loved it, so I wonder if there's something that I just missed or if this isn't the book for me. It literally just popped into my head that I would like to reread the Lord of the Rings series. I don't plan on tracking down my copies because they're hidden in my basement, but yeah, I never finished the series as a child. I read 2.5 of the books and I gave up because I found the writing again to be slightly inaccessible. I think I read them when I was 11-ish, and J.R.R. Tolkien really liked to describe and did not do it stylistically. But I would like to finally reread it and check that off the bucket list of reading. Another book that I actually prepared to reread was The Diviners by Libba Bray. This was one of the books that I discovered slightly new-ish when I was a lot more new to BookTube, and I was very new to audiobooks. I think this was one of the first audiobooks I ever tried listening to, and it was a definite shift and change in the format. I ended up giving this only 3 stars. I didn't love it and I couldn't quite understand why everybody else did, but I would like to read this now, knowing a lot more what I like in writing and what I like in audiobooks, to see if I would like it again. I don't know if I'd pick it up in print or audio, because I know the audiobooks are supposed to be wonderfully performed, but because I was so new to them, I didn't quite get that. And I also didn't know that you could speed up your audiobook. So I listened to like an 18-hour audiobook on 1.0 speed. It was so slow, and I think that was a large part of the reason why I didn't enjoy myself. The final book on this short list I would like to reread is definitely through a more critical lens. This again is a book that I read when I was newer to booktube and book related things, very new to adult fantasy. My rating might have been a little too liberal with this instance, and I'm talking about The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I was not nearly as critical of a reader as I am now. I read this, and because I was missing high fantasy so much and like inventive stories, thought I loved it more than I did. I think I honestly felt pressure to give it a 5-star rather than something a bit lower, more like a 4. There were definitely storytelling elements that I liked from this book, and I think the world and the magic is very well explained and inventive. But I can tell you now that I probably won't like Kvothe as much as I did back then, and I think I missed out on a lot of the sexism that is present in this story. I've seen quite a few discussion points on Twitter a couple different times come up, and I honestly want to give it a try with a lot more of a critical lens. So that is it. Those are the 5/6 books that I really would like to reread. I'm not giving myself a set time frame that I have to have all these books read again for, but this video is something that I would like to hold myself accountable for. These are the books that have just stuck out to me as books that I think my opinion could change on, and I'm definitely fascinated to see whether or not my opinions will change. Let me know down in the comments below if you plan on doing any sort of rereads, if you do them for fun, if you do them to be critical. I would love to know. But that's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you again next time. Bye!